Riveting content. Empowering your life. Welcome to The Sphere. This episode is sponsored by Houston Housewives of Finance. For more information on increasing your cash flow, becoming your own money manager, and to schedule your complimentary personal finance strategy, contact the Houston Housewives of Finance today at 1-844-700-4463. Elite Dental Wellness. At Elite Dental Wellness, Dr. Ashandra Batiste understands that one of the biggest obstacles is dental fear. The vision at Elite Dental Wellness is to ensure every patient is treated with respect, ultimate care, patience, and love. Call us today to make an appointment at area code 713-789-8680. Looking to advertise? Join the Sphere's vast demographic reach of thousands of people all over the world. Send an email today to advertise@thesphere.tv or call us at area code 832-772-7789.
Good evening, and thank you everyone for joining us on Society Now, a show that endeavors to provide groundbreaking stories and editorials that ignite perspective, excite passion, and invoke social consciousness. My name is Kira Laws, and you can follow me at The Modern Day Cindy on Instagram. And this is my lovely co-host, who is to never duplicate it, will always duplicate it, never imitate it.
Come on now, you better
Never.
make me feel good.
Never.
Whoop, whoop.
Ever.
I said I didn't do that loud. See, I didn't. So hello, everybody. My name is Allison Bullock. You can follow me at Miranda Inc. And I have accepted all the followers. I'm going to open it like you guys. I try to make I don't know why
I'm proud of
keep
her.
it closed, but
Accepting
I've accepted.
followers.
But hey, we want to just shout out, hey Don, how are you? We want to thank all of our Facebook Live viewers. Please make sure that you subscribe to the show on all platforms, including iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and of course Stitcher.
Look at you.
Go
on,
ahead.
Stitch,
I know.
Stitch.
Come on, Stitcher. I don't know why we like that word so much. We just love Stitcher, but we love iTunes and everybody else.
And
We just think it's so
SoundCloud
cool.
and
And
Google
SoundCloud,
Play.
all of them. Don't forget to review, to share on Facebook Live. Don, make sure that you give us your feedback. We really, really want to know what you think about
Hi,
the
Don.
show. Hashtag us. Let us know what you feel, and don't forget to donate to this amazing movement that's happening here at the Sphere at www.thesphere.tv, thesphere.tv/donate. Whew! There we go.
All of that.
So we have a lot to get to. Like normally we kind of make sure we've got some really hot topics, but we're really trying to get through a lot. So y'all, this time,
This is
like,
called
in real life. Hey, oh, I love it. Hey, Don. Yeah, so like in real life, y'all, we are really gonna start,
This is called the Society Second.
and we are gonna knock this down in like what
60
60
seconds at most per item until we move to the next segment. So the first thing, 60 seconds on the clock. $1 million deposit. Serena Williams said her first $1 million check, she tried to put it in the drive-through ATM and deposit it. I have not yet received a check for $1 million. I'm looking forward to the day, and I hope that when I receive the check, it is actually directly deposited to
my account.
But in the event that wire transfer does not occur, I know that I probably would not be drive-through, but this was probably a very long time ago because she's had millions for a very long time.
And let's not forget, because you guys, she has been in this business for a long time.
Yes.
A long time. But the fact that she actually, hey, Rhonda, the fact that she's been in this business for so long, but she actually went through a drive-through.
But I can see that because it's like, it's a check. Like if I had my little check from my local grocery store or something like that and I got paid, I probably would go through the drive-through. But, that's one of those things you learn later on in life. 60 seconds.
Okay, boom.
So this is it's not funny. It's really interesting. When a drug epidemic hits white America, addiction now becomes a disease. What do you think about that? Because I think that's the conversation that's happening all over. Drug addiction is not real until it happens to people outside of certain minority groups or outside of a certain minority groups. What do you think about that?
So this is one thing that we're always constantly talking about on Society Now. We really try not to cross that line, but the reality of it is, it seems like when it hits a certain group of people in America, then it becomes main news, or then it becomes something that it's an epidemic, or something really needs to happen. And you hate to say it, but this is one of those things that go into what some may call, white privilege.
Yeah, and I think it's because they're talking about the opiate epidemic that's going on right now. It's the largest recorded drug history epidemic that's going around, and they're saying like since it started in 2000, they've had over 500,000 deaths. 500,000 deaths. And so, yes, it is definitely major. Yes, it is an epidemic, but I do understand the concern where people are talking about now. They're thinking drug addiction is more of a disease now. Okay.
Woo, y'all, we are knocking these down.
Okay, nude footage leak. A congresswoman who had her cell phone, her iPhone, something was wrong with it. She sent one of the aides or the staffers to go fix the phone. She gave him the password because she couldn't leave. And later on, when he left her position or whatever, or went to another position, he decided to create his own little email address and started sending out pictures he found on her phone, which included nude pictures that she had probably sent or shared with her husband. What do you think about that?
So this goes back to the theory, and everybody's just like, oh, you can take these pictures. These pictures are actually going to be private. Never take any pictures, and especially even I don't care what it is. Like for instance, if you have an Apple carrier, before you give them your phone to do whatever, you can watch them delete all of your information. When you take it, if you don't want it, remember to delete them.
Well, this is the thing about this situation, that she gave it to a staffer in trust because she could not go to Apple herself. So it's one of those situations where you're in such a unique situation of privilege that you didn't realize that someone was actually going to wrong you like that. And it's very unfortunate.
Very.
Okay, so this is really good. A flight attendant on Alaskan Airlines actually was able to save a young woman who was traveling from Seattle to San Francisco from sex trafficking. She found the young lady. Mm-hmm. The young lady put a "please help me" message on the mirror. She said the little girl just kept locking eyes with her, and she knew something was wrong, and she was able to save her from sex trafficking.
So let's go ahead and do it. Let's do it, because we love that. We love that. There's a lot of stuff that's going on in Society Seconds, but we put these things in here to let you guys know that there's still hope. We've talked about sex trafficking and abuse and all these other things for quite some time in other shows. And I think this is one of those things where if you need a way out, there's so many creative ways.
Yeah.
Whether it can be calling a hotline, or even if you are engaged in some type of public activity, there are people that are actually paying attention. If you just constantly are being repetitive, so clap on that. So that Society Second was a high Society Second for me.
It was high, and I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was that she had enough wherewithal to know something was wrong, because the little girl kept looking at her, but she couldn't say anything.
Yes.
So she knew something was up. Okay, another thing that's going to be hot in the news right now, Tyler Perry is leaving OWN Network. Now, know OWN is owned by Oprah Winfrey Network. And he's going to Viacom, clearly a competitor of Oprah's, but he can't leave OWN until 2019, but he has already signed a deal to produce 90 episodes annually of an original drama and comedy series for Viacom, and that deal is set to run for about 5 years, from 2019 to 2024. I think it's an awesome business deal.
I love that. It's an awesome business deal, and of course I don't know them personally, but between Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey, they seem like they have a good friendship and also a great business relationship.
Yes.
So I think something like that is applauded on both ends, because Tyler Perry, I've heard people really talk like, oh my gosh, those Medea plays. I'm like, this man literally was homeless, sleeping in his car. Mm-hmm. So this is a true rag to riches story. Mm-hmm. So something like this, he went from sleeping in the car to doing multi-million and billion-dollar deals. Mm-hmm. I think that's every part of that is amazing.
Every part of that is amazing. So of course you respect the hustle that he has. Truly you do. And now on the other side of that, we're still respecting hustle, but in the NBA, right? So Shaquille O'Neal has been retired for a minute now. He's a commentator. He's a correspondent for NBA, ESPN. He also is an owner of several businesses. He now has just purchased a Krispy Kreme. Hold on. He started with one Krispy Kreme in Atlanta. And he says doing so well that he said, I'm going to buy 100 more. Now, I'm not a Krispy Kreme fan. I live in Houston, Texas. We eat Shipley donuts here. We eat Shipley. Krispy Kreme is way too sweet for my teeth. I don't know how you feel about it. I've tried it before. Maybe I didn't have it when it was fresh and hot. I don't know. But I'm a Shipley fan. What do you have to say about that?
So I'll be honest. So one thing about Shaquille O'Neal's track record, he's always been an investor.
And he's a very
Since
smart
day
businessman.
one, he's always been a businessman. So when he first, started the league, you constantly saw him invest, and so he always invested his money. So I think that this is just one of those things, and he always puts his mouth where his passion is, his money where his passion is, not mouth, his money where his passion is.
Right.
So I think that this is one of those another thing to applaud Shaquille O'Neal on.
Yeah,
Seriously.
absolutely. I think it's going to be interesting to see if he does 100 or if he does 200. I don't know what's going to happen.
Knowing him, you never know.
So this is funny to me, and this is definitely a society second. So cross-dressers rob a Home Depot. So there was 3
I'm sorry.
cross-dressers, and they went into Home Depot. They robbed the Home Depot of, the little gift cards, American Express, the MasterCard, and apparently also during this time period, which is really sad and unfortunate, it got violent, and they wound up beating a woman. Now, I think it's sad because when you look at this, it's kind of like, first of all, y'all were in full cross-dress drag, however, and they did it not once but twice. So what do you got? I mean, how do you feel? Like, I feel like
so it's one of those things. Whether I think the reason why it made headlines is because they're cross-dressers.
Absolutely.
That's it. There are people,
because people do this all the time.
People rob, and I hate to say this, people get violent. We don't like it. We don't condone it.
Absolutely,
but they made headlines because they were cross-dressers. So there's that society second.
Okay,
there it is.
That is, and that's how much you get a second from that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's get into some meat and potatoes.
Come on.
Do we care or should we care? So this is the do we care, should we care moment of our show where this is where we talk about some things that some people might feel like we shouldn't care or we could care.
Yeah.
We want to just talk about it a little bit more than a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
So this is one. Well, actually, we can actually make this a do we care, should we care?
Yeah.
Ain't your mama?
Yeah.
There was a woman in Memphis, and she said she showed up to her doctor's office on July 11th, and he greeted her with an offensive racial statement. When he came into the room, apparently he said, "Hi, ain't your mama?" Now, her name is not Jemima at all. Her name is Lexi Carter. And she said, "I haven't been able to sleep since then. I haven't felt really comfortable because, again, this is my doctor. This is my caretaker. Does he really take me seriously?" What are your thoughts about that? Do we care about,
we care? Yes. And the reason being is, regardless of what anybody says, I know, because everyone keeps saying freedom of speech, but this is a patient of yours.
Absolutely.
You never want to damage that relationship and make someone feel uncomfortable because they're in your hands for care. You wouldn't call anyone else out of their name, or you would hope that you wouldn't call anyone else out there in any derogatory. That is not a term of endearment.
It's not.
It's not. And I don't. Again, I've never spoke to this gentleman, so I don't think that I'm hoping that Dr. Turner did not think that it was a term of endearment, saying, "Oh, hey, Aunt your mama, how are you?"
I'm almost certain he didn't think that, and maybe in his mind, her features were such that he embraced the syrup lady, and so he thought, yeah, absolutely, find a new
Dawn,
doctor.
I agree. Find a new doctor.
You find a new doctor, but this
agree.
woman is an older woman, and she wasn't young. She's older, and she probably felt like, I've given this man my care. I don't know if he's always felt he wasn't a new doctor of hers, so has he always given me the right information? So yes, we care about that.
We care about it. And speaking of some right information, we've got to tell you that this portion of the show is sponsored by the one and only Houston Housewives of Finance. Did you know that only 4 states in the United States offer financial education? 33% or more than 77 million of Americans do not pay their bills on time. 39% of Americans carry credit card debt from month to month, and 39% of adults say that they do not have enough in their savings. Do not become one of these statistics. Let Houston Housewives of Finance advise you on increasing your cash flow and becoming your own money manager by scheduling your complimentary personal financial strategy. Please contact Houston Housewife of Finance today at 1-844-700-4463 or email them at info@houstonhousewivesoffinance.com and ask how you can participate in a complimentary financial literacy workshop near you. Houston Housewives of Finance, are the new face of the new age of finance services. Kira and I just attended an amazing event last night. And one of the things that they talked about was financial literacy and really getting your finances in order, whether you have $0 or $1 billion, to really speak to someone regarding those matters. So I think Houston Housewives of Finance would be an excellent avenue for you. And we've got a couple of new joiners. So we want to thank all of the Facebook joiners.
Yes.
Camille, and is it F.A.? Did I say that correctly? Effie, please forgive me. Hello, you guys. You just joined in on Society Now. We just really went through our Society Seconds, and unfortunately, we are coming down to the hour that we have to bid adieu. So the way that the show works, the first 15 minutes are completely free. It's all on you. You can just come on Facebook Live. You can either follow myself at Miranda Inc., or you can follow Kira Laws at The Modern Day Cindy
on Instagram.
And on Facebook Live, it's Kira Laws, and for me on Facebook, it's Allison Gidry, of course, as you guys know. But the first 15 minutes, but if you want to go ahead and subscribe to the channel, which is what we really want you to do, because we really want you to get to the meat of what we really talk about, right? So the way that you can do that is you can actually subscribe to iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, or Stitcher, any of the followings. And what you can do is you can look under the Sphere and Society Now. So with all of that being said, we absolutely love you, and we hate to say goodbye. So what we'll say is we'll see you later. So you guys, see you later. Take care. Have an awesome one.
Yeah. Okay, let's roll. Okay, so do we care? Should we care? So, a rightfully charged with a hate crime, Frederick Nolan Sorrell, 49 years old, is accused of second-degree intimidation after hurling racial slurs at a Muslim couple in May. He followed a couple who was on foot in his car for over 20 blocks, harassing them. And now he's being rightfully charged with a hate crime. And his response was tears and how he didn't really think about it. He didn't think it was a bad thing. He didn't mean to harm anybody. It wasn't intentional. But you followed them in your car when they were on foot. First of all, if anyone's following you while you're walking and they're driving, that's kind of scary because they have the advantage, right? Anything could happen, you know. And then, of course, we live in a very different society. Society is ever evolving. And we already had a very tenuous 365 days in the past year, right? So I can actually understand why this couple decided to press charges, and he was rightfully charged with a hate crime.
So this goes back to the climate that we live in. You know, Kira, you said something very important. Going back in the last 365 days, let's really talk about what's happening. Mm-hmm. It has got to the point now where people are afraid of pulling over when they hear cops. Mm-hmm. People are afraid. People, you know, I remember growing up, and I was taught that, you know, words don't hurt.
The biggest lie ever.
Words only hurt when you give them power, but they're just words.
Oh no,
words.
True.
And in today's society, words not only hurt, but words can end up turning into a kill. When I say that, I mean that the more words are said, especially derogatory words, in today's society, you never know where that may turn. Mm-hmm. That simple conversation, that simple, you know, slander here and there can turn into something very deathly. So if I was that couple, someone was, you know, yelling out derogatory things to me, and I was walking and they were driving, I would immediately be afraid for my life. I don't know if they have a certain type of, they have it out for me. I don't know if they're going to hop out the car. I don't know if they have an animal in the back seat. It could be anything. And at one point in time in society, you couldn't say that. It was like so far-fetched. But in society now, that's very viable, right? That's something that can really happen. So, I mean, I don't want to give it a clap because a part of me really wants to applaud that, not because it happened to them, but because something was done about it. Right. So I really don't want to belabor the point, but yeah.
Well, I mean, this is not the end of it, right? It went much deeper than that. He actually said that he attempted to hit the couple's car more than once and shouted, "Take off the burqa," and expletive. This is America, go back to your country. And he cursed the whole time.
Yeah. So
he said that this while forming a gun with his hand and pointing at the pair. So they were walking to their car. And so again, you know, I'm not sure why we would think that this wasn't any form of a hate crime. It was actually very intentional. And it's unfortunate that in situations where people are actually being held accountable for it, they won't, you know, own up to it and be, you know, humble or repentant maybe.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that this happened, but hopefully this is a message, and the message actually is spread that we can't live like this, people. We can't treat people like this. It's not cool. It's really not cool. So it's not cool. Okay. Do we care? Should we care?
Oh, good old Airbnb.
Airbnb has, for the past few years, Airbnb has been coming up in the news randomly about their inability to be fair.
You go ahead and you make that PC statement.
Inability
Come on,
to be
Kara.
fair with their allowance of persons who do not look like them.
Exactly.
And back when Airbnb first started, I thought it was a really cool concept. I
Very
didn't
much
realize how it seems like it was only made or meant to be for certain people.
Yeah.
So
100%.
in this particular situation, this person decided that they didn't want to rent their spot out to a person because they were Asian, and so they were sued for it, and they were sued $5,000 worth of damages, and of course, and they are being made to take a course in Asian American Studies. And apparently this woman did not want the Asian family or person to rent her ski cabin in February.
But my favorite part is the end
And she
part.
said, "This is why we have Trump."
This is why we have Trump, referring to President Trump, which, oh, you guys.
I've heard of, I'm very, I'm really sensitive about the race card. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm humbled every time I go to a grocery store and I realize the people that are around me, we don't all look alike.
Yeah.
No one's actually treating me crappy when I'm going to the store to buy my stuff. If I say excuse me, they say excuse me back. If someone cuts me off, usually, it doesn't happen often, but I kind of be like, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, someone was right there, but I don't think it's because of race why they did it.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are just very much in their own world, but this was intentional.
Yeah.
You actually, and you texted her and pretty much said, this is why we have Trump. We cannot lean on that as a reason to treat people poorly. You actually felt like that before President Trump became president.
Yeah, that
so
just
you
justified
that. You don't do that, because I don't want to believe that he's the reason why you're acting like that. You were already that way. So, that's unfortunate. Yes, we care, and we're not going to tolerate, as a society, we should not tolerate people, hiding behind the pretext of whatever it is to be racially insensitive. That's just not cool. Okay. It's another one. Do we care? Should we care? A TV station apologizes after accusing the wrong man. So in a local Idaho CBS News affiliate issued apology because they used the Black Lives Matter activist DeRay McKenzie, who was a young man. They tweeted his photo out in an unrelated bank robbery story, saying that he's the person that robbed the bank. Of course, he happens to be a Black Lives Matter person, leader or activist, and you put that face with something called robbery, and you create this vicious little cycle of negativity and hate, and again, you're feeding into some of the conversations that aren't right.
So this goes back to, so I remember as a kid, they would always repetitive images to make you remember. Like, you remember? You put the cat. Kira has a cute, adorable, amazing little girl.
She is pretty amazing.
She's pretty amazing. And guess what? You point to certain things because she's seen it constantly. She's identifying. That's a cat. That's a dog. Certain images, if you constantly see over and over again, you're going to think that it's that. One thing that the Black Lives Matter movement is trying to do is trying to turn the negative stereotype of being Black in America to a positive thing, to let people know that Black lives do matter. So out of all people to pull, that's just interesting that he did it. And I know that there's editors. I know there's people that take second and third looks, I would hope, but maybe on that day that didn't happen. And so what I'm hoping is it's not something that goes viral and that's constantly retweeted versus it being corrected. So at least it was identified and a public apology was issued to Black Lives Matter. So, kudos to them for actually stepping foot and doing it. But man, that's pretty heavy right there.
That is heavy.
Yeah.
Well, this is actually a quick one. Do we care? Should we care? An officer a non-black officer prays
Yes,
over a
yes,
black
yes, yes.
child. And it was caught on cell phone footage, and people are really like, that was amazing. We need more officers like that who actually care about the young kids, because it was 2 young black kids, 3, playing outside, and the young man walked up to the officer and said, "Will you pray for me?" And the officer actually prayed. And I think that is so beautiful. And, I don't, this is one of those things, he didn't know if this person was a believer in what he believed in or not, but he felt led to do it. He felt safe enough to do
Yeah.
it. So that just goes back to the safety and the relationship between our law enforcement and the neighborhood. So I'm just really grateful that he felt comfortable with his local law enforcement to walk up to him and say anything and not fear for his life. And that was a beautiful outcome.
That was a beautiful outcome. And that also goes because, here at Society Now, you guys, every cop is not a bad cop.
Absolutely.
Just like certain races, certain cultures do not want to be generalized. You got to be very careful not to generalize. There are still some amazing cops out there that protect and serve literally everybody. So this is just one of those things where, man, I'm glad that it was caught on film, right? I'm glad that it was caught, that people actually saw it. So, man, that makes my heart smile. I like that.
Smiling heart.
Come on, smiling heart.
Look at
I
that.
love it.
Look at that.
And there's someone else too. I saw it was someone else that actually did the same thing. So it's just amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
And she does actually look to be black, but maybe her last name is, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Ogun. Yep. There it is.
But blessings to her and her family.
Very
blessings
much
to
so. Very much
everyone
so.
else. I don't want to butcher anyone's name.
Yeah, because I would definitely do that.
Officer O. Officer
O.
Officer O, shout out to you. You did an amazing
Super
job.
shout out.
Super shout out to you. Okay, now this is something. Do we care? Should we care? Now, I know many people who watch the show have a Walmart near them.
Man.
And the relationship of our society now is that Walmart is online.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently someone was going to make a wig, use a wig, buy a wig. Something was going to happen with the wig. And they went online to purchase a wig. And the wig was described as Nigger brown. That was the wig cap description. Not just brown, but Nigger brown. Now, I'm trying to figure out who in their department thought that was cute. Because they didn't upload it like that, or did they? Because I'm thinking, like, when you scan the item in, I don't know how most companies, like, is it automatically, does the description go up, or does the Walmart have to actually create the description itself?
So typically, that's something that, for certain, like, if I remember correctly, you guys, and this is for most products, they already give kind of like a rough summary of what it is. Like, oh man.
So the problem with this, is that they need to have human beings looking at every new product they
Like
have
to
before it
vet that
goes
stuff
to
out.
vet it out before it goes in their system. You cannot put that as a description of a product color. That's just not okay. So we care about that. I'm glad someone on the Twitter saw it and called them out. I was like, really,
Yeah.
Walmart? Like, really, this is what we're doing now? To call their attention to, like, you can't tell me that you just knew that was happening.
Right
It's a
now,
PR
that's
nightmare.
what you want to do? That's
That
not
is a
what you
PR
wanna do.
nightmare. And, we're not for that. We want to keep everybody smiling. And,
We do.
And we don't want any PR nightmares. And speaking of smiling,
Woohoo! Great segue.
this portion of the show is sponsored by Elite Dental Wellness. At Elite Dental Wellness, our vision is to create a welcoming practice that will offer exceptional dental care and a lifetime of dental wellness. We are committed to the finest possible oral care and the overall health and well-being of our patients. Elite Dental Wellness is built upon a foundation of integrity, expertise, and service. Through our commitment to modern dentistry, continuing education, and in a friendly atmosphere, we strive to make our patients feel that they are a part of our family. Dentistry can be scary, daunting, and uncomfortable. Dr. Baptiste and her team work tirelessly to ensure your comfort. Make your appointment today with Dr. Ashandra Baptiste at Elite Dental Wellness at 713-789-8680. Again, the number is 713-789-8680.
Yeah.
Woo woo.
Love it.
So after we take care of our smiles
Yes.
and we get our hair done and
Come
whatnot, and ladies and the wig wearing ladies out there, because I was a wig wearer too. We don't buy our wig caps with that color description on it. I just want to throw that out there. If y'all see that, if y'all see something, say something. Shout out again. If you see something, say something.
Put it on your social media, because guess what?
We have to hold people
post, and that thing goes viral, and it
hold people accountable.
It gets people's attention. You know why? Because sponsors pull out. Sponsors are pulling out. They do not condone that stuff, guys.
It's not a game anymore.
It's really not a game, right?
Okay, this is interesting. Do we care? Should we care? Okay, so do we care? Should we care? Okay, the GOP health bill was killed again on the floor by persons from pretty much Republicans. There are some Republicans who are not behind the GOP health bill because they're like, I just cannot get behind it. There's people from their state that's concerned about it. You have, you're as Republicans, as senators and things like that, senators all over the nation, right, are there as representatives for whoever their constituents. So they just can't get behind the bill just because they claim a certain political affiliation. And for those who backed away from it for the right reasons, I'm very glad that they were able to do that. They weren't able to, they didn't get caught up in the affiliation of being a Republican or a Democrat. They was like, well, this right is right, is wrong is wrong. So
yeah, and I think for those that are watching, one of the things that they were talking about is just the party's lack of vision of what the healthcare system should look like, right? And the consequences of undoing a law that's extended health insurance to tens of millions of Americans.
It's not
you guys,
okay.
This is, so I hate to bring up scandal.
Let's just do it though.
Let's bring up scandal.
Do it.
I loved how Chandra Rhimes really dealt with a lot of things that we were going through just with the economy, and dealt with real issues, and how one bill really affects America. You guys, the healthcare bill affects people's lives. And for people that have insurance, that's one thing. But for those that don't, which are a lot of people, a simple cold, it's almost like being in a third world country.
Yeah.
If a simple cold untreated, or simple things untreated, because people can't afford to go to the doctor. For those that have insurance, and it's just like, oh, I have to pay a $10 deductible or $25 deductible.
It's just another day.
It's just another day. But if you look at that bill, I remember one time I had to get lab work done, and I opened up the bill, and I was like, okay, they were like, oh, okay, you're going to pay, it's like $15 or $20. But I looked at what they actually billed to the insurance company. Mm-hmm. And y'all, it was like $900 and something thousand, like $900 something $100, not thousand, something $100. And I was like, wow. So if you didn't have insurance,
you don't go get that lab work because you can't afford it.
You don't. And mine was just, it was a simple, just check up, make sure everything's okay. Have you ever thought about if you couldn't afford to get checked up on and checked out? Just think about that. So when people are like, that's why this is taking so long, y'all. Like all this back and forth, it's because it's a serious issue.
Well, some of the reasoning that people aren't behind the current health bill is because taxes.
Yep.
And not because of concern for health, because of taxes and how much it's going to cost them. But at the end of the day, health is expensive.
Health is very expensive.
And when you have many people in your community that aren't well, then it affects the other people that may be well. And you think about what happens when you have untreated sickness and things like that. I'm not saying anyone's contagious or anything like that, but you think about what drain it puts on the economy. You have people that can't get up and go to work because they can't get health care. So they're sitting at home so that their work is being undone. And it puts strain on people that are still in the office because they have to do double work. I mean, we don't look at it from that perspective. It's not just physical, it's the emotional, it's the mental, it's the psychological things that affect society. And you just can't be in your bubble saying, well, I don't want to spend an extra $1,000 over the next 2 years because it's not my problem.
Yeah.
That's just not the right attitude. It's just not the right attitude. But I'm prayerful that eventually it gets worked out. I know it's a lot of things in it, that I don't quite understand. I wasn't there when they wrote the first one. Yeah. I'm not there now for this. But I hope that they come to a resolution that is a win-win.
Yeah.
It's a win-win. Okay, so do we care? Should we care? Now, I debated about how much energy I wanted to give this particular topic because it's so sensitive and it's so loaded with a lot of unknowns. But I think it's worth the conversation of caring because it's talking again about sex sex cults, and the history of the person who's involved in it, right? So this week, or over the past week, it was Robert Kelly, who was an R&B singer, was allegedly has a current sex cult where he has women who are locked up in a home in Atlanta and somewhere else in Chicago, and they are not allowed to do certain things unless they're told to do certain things. There was some investigation, and the people that were investigating said that the women that are involved, air quotes, are actually of legal age. But the problem is that there were former employees and entourage members that said it's pretty messed up and wacky, the whole situation. There's people that used to be a part of the clique or used to work with, Robert Kelly, and they were saying, hey, this is some stuff going on here. Parents have been reaching out saying, hey, something's not right with my kid. Now, granted, of age, biologically and mentally are two different things to me. So I'm at a loss for, I don't even know, I thank God I've never been a part of anything that even looked like it could be, equal to a sex cult. But I do understand, and I understand the psychology. Well, I understand as a woman the need for a certain level of relationship where you might start sacrificing what's might be good for you to just have someone around you, especially someone like him.
Yeah, like this is not just your
this is not like
person.
This is
this is the R. Kelly.
And again, this is all, again, that they haven't found any proof of any wrongdoing, because again, they said all of these women of age, they're all legally of age. The issue I have with it is that just last year I remember reading an article about someone made a statement about how we still shouldn't be supporting him and his music
big time. And
then a couple of years ago, when I was actually in law school, I remember when the whole the sexual allegations came out. Then I remember shortly thereafter we had Trapped in a Closet. And then I remember being younger. Yeah, but I remember being younger watching Video Soul and watching him with Aaliyah. You know what I mean? And I don't know his life story like that. I really don't. But I do understand that he as a man has made his life on being this very he's a guy who likes women. That's he makes his career off of liking women, being sexually attracted to women. He talks about sex in his music. He never talks about anything that he's been accused of, right? No. In terms of how, but he always has been a very sexual, very vocally sexual person. So I don't know what your thoughts are about that.
So you guys
wait before you get into your thoughts, hold your thoughts.
Hold
your thoughts. Pause for the cause real quickly, because we just want to give a shout out to the Sphere.
Woo, we
want to give a shout out to the Sphere because this portion of the show is brought to you by the Sphere.
We love it.
Are you starting your business and looking for a place to advertise? Do you have a need to reach out to thousands of people across the world to build your brand or sell your product? If so, get your product placement and advertising needs handled right here at the Sphere. We offer a wide variety of content delivery platforms, including iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Stitcher. Plus, we have a vast demographic reach within the United States as well as modern countries across the globe. Our enriched content and inspiring dialogue, coupled with your strategic ad, is surely to hit the mark every time. Call us today at area code 832-772-7789. The number is 832-772-7789, or send an email over to advertise@thesphere.tv. Again, that's advertise@thesphere.tv.
So, your
thoughts, your feelings, come with it.
So, I like social media. I really enjoy social media. I looked, and you guys, people are having so many comments talking about, he's been talking about in the closet for years.
For a very long time.
So there's a couple of things.
About 30 editions of In the Closet.
30. So I listened to the press conference. I watched it. And, one of the reporters made it very clear, how old is your daughter? She's like, my daughter's 21. And he brought up, I forgot the name of the disease, but it was like, well, she's been brainwashed. She's been brainwashed. She has not been the same. And her sister came out and started, saying this stuff, and they kind of tried to hurry her up because, you know, she was like, you know, you are this, you're that, R. Kelly. And but she's like, you know, my sister has not been the same since college, which I'm guessing is when
She
met R. Kelly. And so immediately when I thought about it, this goes back to something that, you know, Kira, you and I have talked about offline about who you connect with.
Absolutely.
And going back to that, you know, I really kind of get to that place when, or get feel some kind of way
Come on,
when
feel
someone says, especially young women, I'm so lonely. I'm so lonely.
But you know, this is interesting though. I will say this, and maybe in my experience, I've never met the women. I feel like, well, I can't say that. I've only met a few women that I know have been in relationships that have been
With like celebrity type people.
well, not even celebrity type people, because this is not even just about celebrity type people. It's about men and women in general, because
Yeah.
they don't have to be a celebrity for this situation to occur.
This is true. Matter of fact, yeah.
But I've only met a few women that have been in a situation like similar to this, where psychologically they couldn't get past. You couldn't tell them that something was wrong with the situation. Like,
Yeah.
this is not right. But they would never say lonely. What they would say is stuff like, well, this person makes me feel a certain way.
So they justified.
Yeah,
their
but they would
behavior.
never say lonely. They would just,
So it comes
say,
from a total different place.
yeah, because it wasn't low. It's the validation, it's the affirmation, it's the attention.
Yeah.
But it wasn't necessarily the lonely, because usually the women that I knew a few, they weren't not attractive women. These were attractive women.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, the attention they were getting from this particular person was more validating to them than the persons that would probably treat them better. And it's not that, and we're not accusing Robert Kelly of mistreatment. I don't know. We don't know the details of it. But when you have family members concerned about the well-being of someone because they feel like something is just not right, and that's kind of crazy. And I mean, sex is an intimate situation. You know, we're talking about in 2017, we live here in Houston, where it is a sex trafficking route.
No, seriously.
And this is not me that's not me
No, like for
exaggerating.
those of you that live in Houston, there's literally sex trafficking. Like, you can see it.
Yeah, and you don't know who to run up on or who not. Like, you can't stop.
Yeah.
These little mini hotels and stuff like that. So when you hear stuff like that, I'm very sensitive to it, because I'm like, it doesn't have to look like I'm selling someone. It's just be like, you just can't leave where you are.
Like, psychologically having them like in a place where they just are afraid or don't want to leave, which is even worse.
Because
it's like, that's what the parents are saying. The parents are saying she has been one particular young lady. She's been brainwashed. She's not the same. What is Stockholm syndrome. Thank you. And she was like, my daughter has not been the same. Like, literally, she is not the same person. So, you know, again, this is one of those stories that as we have seen in the past, the news is like, it is your storyline. This is one day. Y'all give it a couple of days. By next, because this I'm sure we're going to do as a follow-up. It's going to be more to the story.
I'm hoping that
there's going to be more to the story.
My hope is that the more to the story is that it's all resolved,
Hopefully.
and that everything is under control. I really don't want to hear about anything else regarding this. And I say that not because I don't care, it's because I do care. And I'm like, because you know, like, what else, bro? Like, bro,
because
seriously, like, I mean, what else? I'm like, I wanted to rap a little Jay-Z right now, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna throw him in it. I'm not gonna do it. But y'all need to read. Yeah, listen, y'all need to cop that 444. I'm just saying. It's the story of blank. Okay.
Woo!
So
on a final note,
LOL. This is an LOL moment to me. This
Yeah.
is an LOL moment to me. It's not funny, but it is. So Colin Kaepernick has been on our show in conversation.
Yes.
Not really, but you're welcome to the show anytime. You are.
We've given you like
several
like
one claps,
several
like, because
claps.
you are like our guy right now. I mean, he's making a clap back here, which really seriously,
like in the back. This is what you're getting.
yeah. And we big you up because you really have done something that hasn't been done in the history of sports. especially for an African American man. So of course that the controversy has been, and we've talked about it recently. I think just as recent as a couple of weeks ago, about a lot of people are concerned because they feel like Colin has been blackballed. Just because he took a knee. Not because he was disrespectful to anybody, not because he cursed at anybody, not because he was fighting in a club, not because he was beating his wife, not because he was on drugs, not because he had something inappropriate to do, not because he threw a football at somebody's head, but because instead of putting his hand over his heart, he decided it would better be take a knee. And I've seen people in military take a knee before, right? Don't they take knees every now and then?
Yeah, they do.
So he was dinged for taking a knee, and then after he was asked about it, he was dinged for his response, which was not disrespectful. It was a fact of what was happening at society at the time, which was a lot of brutality, and that was in the news.
And let's be clear, it's not illegal.
It's not illegal.
He did not break the law.
Okay, so which goes into law versus ethics.
There you go.
And morality.
Yep.
Okay, so what he did wasn't illegal, and it wasn't even unethical, right? But some people's moral compass was uncomfortable with it.
Very much so. And the culture that he lived in.
And the culture he lived in wasn't accepting of it. So here we go. This is the LOL moment for me. And Colin, if you're there, you can LOL. You can hit us up again on the sphere.tv and let us know how you really feel. So I actually saw Michael Vick say that the first thing you need to do is to cut your hair. And then he kind of tried to backtrack after that and say, well, I love you, I love this guy to death, but I want him to succeed on and off the field. And this has to be a start for him. What does his hair have to do with him being an amazing quarterback? What does his hair have to do with that? And now he backtracks and said, well, you know what? His hair has nothing to do with anything. In terms of him not being on a roster right now, he just wants to see him play again. Now, I have a lot of feelings about this, and he would be producer guy, a major candidate for Stockholm Syndrome. He's been a little bit on the brainwash side, because remember when Michael Vick first went to jail, he went to jail not with a clean cut.
No.
He went to jail with his braids for dog fighting and all the stuff. And I guess for him, his route was, for them to even accept me back, I needed to clean myself up. But I felt like your situation was a little bit sensitive because it was brutal, bloody, and people are very sensitive about animals, right? And you were profiting possibly off of this situation, and you needed to present yourself as not that person. I don't necessarily know that his hair is the problem here. I don't think that Colin's hair is a problem here. I think it's a bigger, deeper thing. I can understand why he might think that cutting his hair might make him feel more accepted. But I think that the hair thing is very much an excuse and a crutch for many people in the conversation. Because, us as being, we are who we are, right? Straight, curly, long, short.
Yeah.
And it's a conversation that happens in this community way too often about what people look at, what they see when they see us.
Yeah. Out of every person in the NFL, there's a lot of gentlemen in the NFL. Michael Vick would be the last person if my eyes were closed and my ears were closed. Like, you know what I mean? And someone was to tell me, Allison, guess who said this? I would not even say Michael Vick. There's a few other people that would immediately come to my mind, but Michael Vick wouldn't be one of them. So I was surprised. First, I was like, no. Michael Vick? Wait a minute. No, he really did say that.
In real life.
In real time. But he went back. So, whether people want to agree with it or not, we are in different times, people. Society now, you got a lot of people who are showing their true colors.
True.
You are seeing people that are not a nation that is coming together, but a nation that seems to be pulling apart. And then there are things that are separating us, such as when people take a stand on these things.
But don't sit down.
But y'all, Kira's being so silly right now.
Take a stand, but please don't sit down.
Like, seriously.
Kick a verse, but don't curse.
And regarding Michael Vick, number one, I'm glad he kind of backtracked instead of just being like, I don't understand what everybody's talking about. What's the big deal? So I'm glad he backtracked, but I'm gonna say I think the issue's so much bigger than his hair. So much bigger than his hair, because in the NFL you've had players that have had way longer hair.
Yeah.
And different types, and you've had them have more outlandish. Heck, Dennis Rodman had more outlandish hair
In the NBA.
In the NBA.
Yeah.
I mean, tattoos and green, purple hair.
So this is the thing. This is not the LOL moment, but this is the thing. If you look back at the picture, what was really implied in that is that Colin's afro is offensive.
Yep.
Afro, not his face, which seemingly would not scare me. It wouldn't scare me. But his afro is a problem. And his afro is representative of a certain time that people think that we as a minority group or a group, because I'm not going to use the word minority,
very good.
but a group, ethnic group, are scary.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
I think that we have to come to the part of the society now piece is understanding that we are, and we're going to talk about this eventually.
Yeah.
We're going to get into this, but we are as a group one of the only ethnicities just so happen to not choose. We don't. None of us chose our hair, but we didn't choose the texture of our hair, how it grew out of our head, and things like that. We go through a different process to even straighten our hair. Most of us, some of us have, like I have pretty straight hair. It's not as curly as some people's, but everyone goes through a different process. Yeah. And, to make your hair in the way you wear it when it's in its natural state a problem and say that possibly could fix the problem is really playing to that undercutting negative sentiment about what it means to be black in America.
So with that being said,
and I don't want that to be the final word. That's not the final word. The final word is love somebody.
Okay. Because girl, I was about to say drop the mic, walk off.
I mean, I felt that, but I just didn't want that to be the final word, y'all, because it's like,
because the reality is these issues occur, but the good thing is that there's people that there's a lot of good that is still happening in the world.
And I know, and this is the thing, I'm gonna say this too, and this can be the final word. This is the final word. I love them when we're out sometimes, every now and then. We have brothers and sisters that don't look at us and they love our hair.
Y'all, it's ridiculous.
It's beautiful, and it's beautiful. Woo! And I think so. What I was going with that is I think there's somehow that there's a disconnect over what's beautiful. Yeah. You said, I love the thickness of your hair. Yeah. Oh, it's so pretty. You know what I mean? And so to hear Michael Vick say something like this, kind of like, what's going on here? Okay. So love somebody and live, guys.
So the final word
is
wanted to make sure.
I wanted to make sure that we know that all people don't look. All people don't think that it's the hair.
And the truth of the matter isn't. So with that being said, you guys, this evening it is a wrap.
We're not our hair.
Come on, Indy Irie.
You can come on the show too, Indy.
We would love to have you. Are you kidding?
We would love you.
You guys, we look forward to you joining us next week on Society Now as we continue to ignite perspective, excite passion, and invoke social consciousness.
Socially conscious.
Stay woke. I am Allison Bullock. Do not forget to follow me on Instagram at Miranda Inc. And this is Kira Laws, and you can follow her at The Modern Day Cindy on Instagram.
My name is Kira Laws.
That's when you know it's getting late.
And you can follow me on Instagram, whichever she just said.
At The Modern Day Cindy. You guys don't forget to remember.
Yeah.
Let's not have another identity crisis.
I'm being funny.
She's being funny.
Because it's happening.
It's happening. You guys remember to like, follow, and share and subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Stitcher.
Y'all better do this, y'all.
Y'all go. No, seriously, because we
really
really want your feedback. We really want you to subscribe.
Do it.
So we thank you so much. You guys take care and have a great night. We love you.
Yay. I guess I should close.